होमज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं सागरजातं सागना रघुनाथामृतं सजीवम् साधवैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं चैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादा सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च मां विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामी नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी निर्विशेष शून्यवती नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदाय कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामिने गौरक्षे हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पति गोपेश गोपिका श्रीराधा सप्तकांचन गौरांगी श्रीराधे विद्याधीश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि नीलाचल निवासाय नित्याय परमात्मने बलपुत्र सुभद्राय श्री जगन्नाथाय वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभैः पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम हरे राम राम हरे गंगोत्तिवाचालं पंकं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरो दीननाथं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्येश्वरम्। हरे कृष्ण। So today we are going to begin the 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. So today we are going to cover texts 1 to 7. Lord Krishna is teaching here how the Lord is the source of everything. And this is followed by Chaturshloki Bhagavad Gita, which comes from 10.8 to 10.11, which is the very essence of Bhagavad Gita in the 4 verses, 10.8 to 10.11, Chaturshloki comes. So before that, Lord Krishna is explaining how he is the source of everything. Let us begin with 10.1. Shri Bhagavan Vacha. Bhuyate Mahadahu. Shuname Paramam Vacha. Yateham Priyamanaya. Vakshyami Vitatamya. The Supreme Personality of God said, listen again, O my dear brother, because you are my dear friend, for your benefit, I shall speak to you further, giving knowledge that is better than what I have already explained. The word Bhagavan is thus explained by Parashara, one who is full in six opulences, who has full strength, full fame, knowledge, beauty, and renunciation is Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of God. While Krishna was present on this earth, he displayed all six opulences. Therefore, great sages like Parashar Muni have all accepted Krishna as the Supreme Personality of God. Now, Krishna is instructing Arjuna in more confidential knowledge of his opulences and his work. Previously, beginning with the seventh chapter, the Lord has already explained his different energies and how they are acting. Now, in this chapter, he explains his specific opulences to Arjuna. In the previous chapter, he has already explained his different energies to establish devotion in firm conviction. Again, in this chapter, he tells Arjuna about his manifestations and his various opulences. The more one hears about the Supreme Lord, the more one becomes fixed in devotion and service. One should always hear about the Lord in the association of devotees. That will enhance one's devotion and service. Discourses in the society of devotees can take place only among those who are really anxious to be in Krishna consciousness. Others cannot take part in such discourses. The Lord clearly tells Arjuna that because Arjuna is very dear to him, for his benefit, such discourses are taking place. The process of Krishna consciousness requires enthusiasm and eagerness on the part of the sadhaka to further proceed. So revelation is always in proportion to the enthusiasm and eagerness. Because the Lord is able to see that eagerness in Arjuna, the Lord is revealing more and therefore the Lord is saying, I'm going to reveal to you even further than what I have told in already 9 chapters are over. The Lord is saying, even further. जय श्री जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा महारानी सुभद्रा महाराज की नमस्कार की जय। Again, we are going to see 13th chapter. The Lord again says, I am going to reveal what I have not told. Highest, loftiest. Many times the Lord is telling. Why? Because progressively the Lord is seeing Arjuna's eagerness, and therefore the Lord is very happy to reveal more. And this goes to show that the revelations of Krishna Katha very rare. Unless one is eager, one is not going to get the opportunity to hear more and more. So even though the preaching mission, all the devotees are very much eager to reach out to one and all. But we will see only one who is anxious and eager is the one who gets entrance to go for. Like if we see in our teaching, the first semester of teaching in the college hostel, we are having weekly programs there. The next semester discussions are going to become much more intense and much more glories of the Lord will be spoken about. It's much more endearing. For many people, they get left out in the hospital itself. They don't come. They don't take that step to come over. So you see, eagerness is the band gap. Then we'll see second semester those who are coming once, twice to the voice. You get to hear more. And then we say, okay, we will hear much more in the summertime, summer camp. Again, there is a band gap of eagerness and anxiousness. How much one is eager? So those who come, they get to hear so much. Glories in the Lord. So deep, so exciting, so strengthening. And whereas others who do not exhibit that level of eagerness and anxiety, I mean anxiousness, they never get to hear. So there is this eagerness. Revelation is very much in proportion to eagerness. How much one is anxious. How much one is anxious. That is what decides how much one is anxious. That's exactly what decides that how much revelations one can put. That is the point. And the same goes on. So then again, those devotees are staying in voice, they get to hear so much glories of Bhagavan. And it is so captivating, it is so sweet. Others, they don't get to hear. Similarly, when you pass up, it all depends on eagerness. There is again a band gap of eagerness. And eagerness and anxiousness. That yes, let me take that uh, let me take that extra step. Let me take that to connect back, to give priority. So on one hand, sometimes people say, no, actually, the uh, the today's age technology association very easily available. On one hand, there is technology. So Maya has a double-sided strategy. On one hand, Maya is showing that okay, the association very easily available. But the big question mark which you would like to put here is that how many devotees do take benefit of that easily available? That is the big question. So the point is the easily available doesn't solve the problem because Maya says okay because it is easily available. Anytime I can log in. And anytime means no time. Anytime basically means no time. We saw so many lectures of there on YouTube. I can always catch up later. Later means never. That is the point. So therefore, this is the illusion of easily available. Easily available, yes. Bhakti Maharaj lectures are easily available. How many of have heard? How many lectures? Bhakti Maharaj lectures are easily available. How many of us have heard? How many lectures? Proper books are freely available on the internet. The e-copy. How many population of the world is ready? How many initiated devotees have read it? That is the question. Unfortunate question. All Srila Prabhupada books. Once. How many have read it twice? How many have read it 100 times? So we see. So therefore, the revelation is always in proportion to eagerness. There are no other externals. So we should not delude ourselves under the excuse of ready availability or easy access. Access may be very easy, but that must step also maybe like crossing Mount Everest. That is how Maya makes it. We get so much intoxicated. So that is the reason Srila Prabhupada is describing here the discourses in the society of devotees can take place only among those who are really anxious to be in Krishna consciousness. So one of the reasons why Bhakti Shastri batches go even rare than DYS. DYS is a lot of DYS, but Bhakti Shastri very rare. Why? Because the lack of eagerness to hear. That's why the batches are not. Why Bhakti Bhagavad batches are very, very, very rare? Because devotees are not so eager. It's like that. And, so in our KGP history, a single Bhakti Bhagavad batch is not short. 25 years of KGP history. Done. It's a question of eagerness. Like that. Or 12 years of our own Rameshwaram history. 12, 13 years something. So it's all about eagerness, actually. So this is the point that this discourses can only take place among those who are really Jesus. You see, when Srila Raghunath Das Goswami went to Govardhan to offer obeisances and seek blessings of all Vaishnavas to commit suicide, to end his body because separation from Shri Chaitanya. At time all the devotees stopped him. They said, "Arey, you have real life. We are dead, we don't know pastimes of the Lord. You live to give us life." So then every day, the first half, Srila Raghunath Das Goswami was explaining the pastimes of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, which he had personally observed being assistant to Srila Sarvadhamar Goswami. So why that revelation took place? Eagerness of the Vaishnavas. The Bhagavatam was spoken. Why? Eagerness of Parikshit Maharaj. Okay, the weekly target we are given for hearing is the minimum limit, or that is sufficient if one is properly hearing and applying. The weekly target of hearing is like 16 rounds every day target. That means that much we do exclusively. That target is an exclusive target. That means we are, uh, other than that, hearing can be done while we are doing any mechanical activity. So the 2 hours target, 1 hour proper, 1 hour master, is a minimum exclusive target. So other than that, also one can hear, like Prabhupada said, 16 on the beats, hundreds of rounds all off the beats while we are walking or doing some mechanical activity. Similarly, hearing can also be done in that fashion. But whenever we do hearing, we should try to not just keep it in the background, but one should try to go into it and focus. Like for mechanical services which are not mechanical, hearing may not be possible. And when we are hearing attentively. So when they are hearing along with any seva, many devotees try out many things. One of the things is to hear the same lecture twice or thrice. One of the things is that okay, after doing that seva or no, one can try to remember 3-4 main points and write down. The next time again one will hear, one will be able to add on to those points. So it will become like nice, proper. After 2 or 3 hearings, it will become like as good as exclusive hearing notes. Like so, one has to put in uh, quality. So I said, okay, 2 hours we can hear. Now, when to increase these targets we can increase when age increases. Like that. These targets we can increase when age increases. Just like it is said for chanting. With age, one can increase a bit, or one can increase a bit. Same thing is hearing. And reading, we do 3.5 hours, half an hour every day. Slowly with time, one can try to do more and more and reach up to proper recommendation for serious devotees 1 hour every day. Prabhupada did recommend 1 hour every day. But that should be done step by step without doing injustice to one's services which one has taken. So that's the point. So 3.5 is minimum. Slowly one can try to move towards that goal. So for brahmacharis, yes, they're recommended to read 7 hours. Brahmacharis, full-time devotees. Every day 1 hour is a good target. That's actually Prabhupada's recommendation. That's actually Prabhupada's recommendation. Let's go for it. Nate vedu suragana prabhavanna maharshayah amadirhi devana maharshinam cha sarvashah. Neither the hosts of demigods nor the great sages know my origin and opulences, for in every respect I am the source of the demigods and the sages. As stated in Brahma Samhita, Lord Krishna is the Supreme Lord. No one is greater than him. He is the cause of all good. Here it is also stated by the Lord personally that he is the cause of all demigods and sages. Even the demigods and great sages cannot understand Krishna. Even the demigods and great sages cannot understand Krishna. They can understand not his name, nor his personality. So, what is the position of so called scholars of this tiny group? No one can understand why this Supreme God comes on earth as an ordinary human being and executes such wonderful, uncommon activities. One should know then that scholarship is not the qualification necessary to understand Krishna. Even the demigods and great sages have tried to understand Krishna by their mental speculation, and they have failed to do. In the Srimad Bhagavatam also it is clearly stated that even the great demigods are not able to understand the Supreme Personality. They can speculate to the limits of their imperfect senses and can reach the opposite conclusion of impersonalism, of something not manifested by the three qualities of material nature. Or they can imagine something by mental speculation, but it is not possible. To understand Krishna by foolish speculation. Here the Lord indirectly says that if anyone wants to know the absolute truth, here I am present as the Supreme Absolute, Supreme Personality of God, and I am Supreme. One should know this. Although one cannot understand the inconceivable Lord who is personally present, he nonetheless exists. We can actually understand Krishna, who is eternal, full of bliss and knowledge, simply by studying his words in Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. The conception of God as some ruling power or as the impersonal Brahman can be reached by persons who are the inferior energy of the Lord, but the personality of God it cannot be conceived unless one is in the transcendental position. Because most men cannot understand Krishna in his actual situation, out of his causeless mercy he descends to favor, show favor to such speculators. Yet despite the Supreme Lord's uncommon idea, these speculators, due to the contamination of material energy, still think that the impersonal Brahman is the Supreme. Only the devotees who are fully surrendered unto the Supreme God can understand, by the grace of the Supreme Personality, that He is Krishna. The devotees of the Lord do not bother about the impersonal Brahman conception of God. Their faith and devotion bring them to surrender immediately unto the Supreme God. And out of the causeless mercy of Krishna, they can understand Krishna. No one else can understand. So even great sages agree. What is Atma? What is Supreme? It is He whom we have to worship. Host of demigod. Host is the meaning is host means a collection of demigods. The entire collection, a group of demigods. So Srila Prabhupada clearly explains here that simply by speculation one cannot understand Krishna. Bhakti cannot be understood by speculation. Bhakti cannot be understood by imagination. Prabhupada is saying by speculation one may reach the opposite conclusion of impersonalism. The speculation is so dangerous. It nowhere speculation. So nowhere speculation is uh, nowhere speculation is taking us towards the goal of Krishna consciousness. It rather nowhere it takes us towards the goal of Krishna consciousness. Speculation rather can take us to the opposite side. Impersonal. There is a great risk that one may reach the opposite, or at best one may reach some at some point which is just beyond the moons. That's all. But that's like going to zero. The spiritual world is positive infinite. So it is nowhere close to or very, very far off still from the spiritual. So spiritual life is not a game of imagination. So bhakti is not a game of imagination. Actually, how bhakti is going to work, it's very difficult to imagine or speculate. But it can be realized by sincere practice of devotional service. So we can see that bhakti is working. But how it works is very difficult to understand. That's the point. So how bhakti really transforms the candidate, when that candidate is really transformed, at what point, what triggered, that's very difficult. But bhakti will transform everything. That point is guaranteed. So how long we have to practice 16 rounds for us to be able to come to platform Nishtha, then Ruchi Asakti and so on? That's very difficult to imagine. It cannot be speculated. But by chanting 16 rounds, I'll go back to that. So how that milestone will be covered, when it will cover, that only has to be realized. But we can see the end result among when we look around devotees. Devotees are going back to God. We see devotees are going back to God, leaving their body. That's conscious state. Completely surrendered to the Supreme God. So the end result can be seen, but how the process works, no speculation is going to be the realization. So what be the process of realization? Therefore, it is best to go on serving Krishna. The more and more we submit ourselves to the process, the more and more we will see the revelations. Here, Prabhupada is explaining that we can actually understand Krishna, who is eternal, full of bliss and knowledge, simply by studying his words in Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. So studying is taking shelter of those words again and again and again. So rather a devotee all the time takes shelter of the words of the Lord. Because at which point and when which Krishna's words or Krishna will reveal through which word, that remains very mysterious, mystical. But sure, the Lord reveals when we surrender to Him more. So the same activities of bhakti are potent enough to give us higher and higher revelations in due course of time. It's all a matter of revelation. So therefore, it's all a matter of Sharanagati. So every time we love on to Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, we are taking shelter of the words of Krishna and the Acharyas. And so therefore, in proportion to that shelter and in proportion to that the previous advancement of the devotee, the revelations are different. And therefore, we have to understand the same activities of bhakti are potent enough to give us higher and higher revelations and realizations. And that is why nothing different is supposed to be done. It is the same, the same fixed number of shlokas, and again we go through them, and again we observe them. There are deeper and deeper revelations. So by Krishna's mercy, one can understand Krishna. Otherwise, by one's own gymnastics, the Lord can never be understood. Not understood even by the demigod. What to say at first? Next week. Yes, question. Revelation comes in the form of inspiration. Revelation comes in the form of inspiration, in the form of so revelation, realization comes in the form of inspiration. Realization and revelation will be confirmed, can be confirmed from without us. Like Vyasdev got a realization that he is not glorifying Krishna sufficiently. He went to Narad Muni. Narad Muni said the same thing. confirmed. That means it was realization or revelation. But if you get some Eureka revelation which can make the whole world Krishna consciousness and take the whole world back to God, but then you go to a senior devotee and he says, that means it was speculation. That's the point. So therefore, devotees are needed at every step. Revelation is holistic. When it gets realization, revelation, one's love and respect for all other Vaishnavas will increase. But on the speculation, one's arrogance will increase. Revelation manifests an increased commitment and dedication. But speculation doesn't manifest in any form of service or dedication. Yo Mahajanmanadincha Vittilokamaheeshwaram Sammoda Chamartyesyo Sarvapape Pramuchyate. He who knows me as the unborn, as the beginningless, as the supreme lord of all the three worlds, the only undiluted among men is freed from all sins. As said in 7th chapter, 7th and 3, Manushyana Sahasreshu Prashyadhyati, those who are trying to elevate themselves to the platform of spiritual realization are not ordinary men. They are superior to millions and millions of ordinary men who have no knowledge of spiritual realization. But out of those actually trying to understand the spiritual situation, one who can come to the understanding that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the proprietor of everything, the unborn, is the most successful spiritually realized person. In that stage only, when one has fully surrendered, fully understood Krishna's supreme position, can one be freed completely from the sinful reactions. And the Lord is described by the word Ajar, meaning unborn. But he is distinct from the living entities who are described in the second chapter as Ajar. The Lord is different from the living entities who are taking birth and dying due to material attachment. The conditioned souls are changing their bodies, but his body is not changeable. Even when he comes to this material world, he comes as the same unborn. Therefore, in the fourth chapter, it is said that the Lord, by his internal potency, is not under the inferior or the material energy, but is always in the superior energy. In this verse, the words Vedti Loka Maheshwaram indicate that one should know that Lord Krishna is the supreme proprietor of the planetary systems of the universe. He was existing before the creation, and he is different from the creation. All the demigods were created within this material world, but as far as Krishna is concerned, it is said that he is not created. Therefore, he is different even from the great demigods like Brahma and Shiva. And because he is a creator of Brahma, Shiva, and other demigods, he is the supreme person of all the Shri Krishna is therefore different from everything that is created. And anyone who knows him as such immediately becomes liberated from sinful reactions. One must be liberated from all sinful activities to be in the knowledge of the Supreme Lord. Only by devotion of service can he be known, and not by any other means, as stated in Bhagavad Gita. One should not try to understand Krishna as a human being. As stated previously, only a foolish person thinks him to be a human being. This is again expressed here in a different way. A man who is not foolish, who is intelligent enough to understand the constitutional position of Godhead, is always free from sinful reactions. If Krishna is known as the son of Devaki, then how can he be unborn? That is also explained in Bhagavatam. When he appeared before Devaki and Vasudeva, he was not born as an ordinary child. He appeared in his original form, and then he transformed himself into an ordinary child. Anything done under the direction of Krishna is transcendental. It cannot be contaminated by material reactions, which may be auspicious or inauspicious. The conception that there are things auspicious and inauspicious in the material world is more or less a mental concoction, because there is nothing auspicious in the material world. Everything is inauspicious because the very nature of the material nature is inauspicious. We can simply imagine it to be auspicious. Real auspiciousness depends on activities in Krishna consciousness in full devotion and service. Therefore, if we at all want our activities to be auspicious, we should work under the directions of the Supreme Lord. Such directions are given in authoritative scriptures such as Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita are from bona fide spiritual masters. Because the spiritual master is a representative of the Supreme Lord, his direction is directly the direction of the Supreme Lord. The spiritual master, saintly person, the scriptures direct in the same way. There is no contradiction in these three sources. All actions done under such direction are free from the reactions of pious or impious activities of the material. The transcendental attitude of the devotee in the performance of activities is actually that of renunciation. And this is called sannyas. As stated in the first verse of the sixth chapter of Bhagavad Gita, one who acts as a matter of duty because she has been ordered to do so. And who does not seek shelter in the fruits of his activity, anashrita karma phala, is accrued in himself. Anyone acting under the direction of the Supreme Lord is actually a sannyasi and a yogi, not the man who simply has taken the dress of a sannyasi or a pseudo yogi. So Prabhupada is speaking three things here: spiritual master, saintly person, and scriptures. So that means all three have to be referred to. We refer to all three, then our inspiration and revelation is going to be three-phase. Three-phase voltage. Sometimes people feel I'll only hear from spiritual master. That may be risky. Because suppose the guide whom one is hearing, they get diverted and deviated, and one is lost. This very much happens because many times people they feel that uh, so many times people they get sentimentally attached to one person. Like affection and attachment to devotee is not a problem, but if one is unholistic, it will end up in trouble. So one has to give saintly persons. Yes, sir. And there will be no contradiction. All three are bona fide. There is no contradiction. Like we have seen cases in ISKCON. So devotees are they're following their counselor. They're treating their counselor as the guru. Counselor leaves ISKCON. They also leave ISKCON. This is very ridiculous. I think there is no basis. So we have to hear from other artists as well, present Acharya, because they are in the same line. So Prabhupada is answering the question of auspicious and us. Prabhupada is saying, material world, everything is auspicious. Spiritual life, everything auspicious. No, it's very simple. So here he's saying that beyond all shackles, all entanglement, Krishna is above all of them. So therefore, the shelter of Krishna is of paramount importance. So that Krishna is explaining here that I am the beginningless, I am the unborn. And one who knows me like this, such a person will not be deluded. Such a person is free from all sins. Why? Because such a person will understand that Krishna is the most worthy shelter. Why will I go somewhere here and there? So we are able to understand that Krishna is beyond the shackles of this material world. That means, any person who knows this will never leave Krishna's shelter, understanding that where else I will go. Krishna is beyond everything. Just like Gajendra Maharaj is saying in his prayers. He's saying, oh Lord, I want to take shelter of you. And I can give you a reason why. Because he's saying at the beginning of his prayer, he's saying that, okay, we are seeing the universe. There is annihilation, there is creation, annihilation, creation, annihilation. It's coming, it's going, it's coming, it's going. And he's saying when the whole universe is annihilated, everything else, no, everything is annihilated, then also you remain. You are there. There is entire darkness every moment, but you are there. That is why you are the fountainhead and source of everything. And because you are fountainhead of everything, I want to take shelter. So he's actually speaking realized knowledge. So therefore, a sadhaka understand because Krishna is beyond the modes. The more I connect with Krishna somehow or the other, through service, through association, through hearing, through chanting, through Krishna Katha, if I more and more intimately associate with Krishna, the more I'll be able to get purified or come out of the entanglement of these modes. So that's why Prabhupada is saying one who can come to the understanding that Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead, the proprietor of everything, the unborn, such a person is most successful spiritually realized person. So only in that stage, when one has fully understood Krishna's supreme position, can one be completely freed from all the sinful reactions. Text 4-5. बुद्धिर्ज्ञानमसम्मोहः क्षमसत्यं दमः शमः सुखं दुःखं भवो भवो भयं चाभ्याम् एव च अहिंसा शमता तुष्टिः तपोदानं यशो यशः भावयन्ति भावभूतानां मत्त एव पृथक्विदः. Intelligence, knowledge, freedom from doubt and delusion, forgiveness, truthfulness, control of the senses, control of the mind, happiness and distress, birth, death, fear, fearlessness, non-violence, equanimity, satisfaction, austerity, charity, fame and infamy. All these various qualities of living beings are created by me only. So the different qualities of the living entities, whether be they good or bad, are all created by Krishna. They are described here. Intelligence refers to the power to analyze things in their proper perspective. So in intelligence basically is interpretation. And knowledge refers to understanding what is spirit, what is matter. Ordinary knowledge obtained by university education pertains only to matter and it is not accepted here as knowledge. Knowledge means knowing the distinction between matter and spirit. In the modern education, there is no knowledge about spirit. They're simply taking care of the material elements and bodily needs. Therefore, academic knowledge is not complete. Sammoha, freedom from doubt and illusion, can be achieved when one is not hesitant and when he understands the transcendental philosophy. Slowly but surely he becomes free from bewilderment. Nothing should be accepted blindly. Everything should be accepted with care and caution. Shama, tolerance and forgiveness, should be practiced. One should be tolerant and excuse the minor offense of others. Satyam, truthfulness, means the facts should be presented as they are for the benefit of others. Facts should not be misrepresented. According to the social convention, it is said that one can speak the truth only when it is palatable to others. But that is not truthfulness. The truth should be spoken in a straightforward way so that others will actually understand what the facts are. If a man is a thief and if people are warned that he is, if a man is a thief and if people are warned that he is a thief, that is true. Although sometimes the truth is unpalatable, one should not refrain from speaking it. Truthfulness demands that the fact be presented as they are for the benefit of others. Control of the senses means the senses should not be used for unnecessary personal enjoyment. There is no prohibition against meeting the proper needs of the senses, but unnecessary sense enjoyment is detrimental for spiritual advancement. Therefore, the senses should be restrained from necessary use. Similarly, one should restrain the mind from unnecessary thoughts. One should restrain the mind from unnecessary thought. That is called sham. So one should not spend one's time pondering over earning money. It's a misuse of thinking power. The mind should be used to understand the prime necessity of human beings, and that should be presented authoritatively. And those whose thinking is highly developed, yeah, sukham, so pleasure or happiness, should always be in that which is favorable for the cultivation of spiritual knowledge or Krishna consciousness. And similarly, that which is painful or which causes distress is that which is unfavorable to the cultivation of Krishna consciousness. Anything favorable for the development of Krishna consciousness should be accepted. And anything unfavorable should be rejected. Hava, birth, should be understood to refer to the body. As far as the soul is concerned, there is neither birth nor death. And we have discussed in the beginning of Bhagavad Gita, birth and death apply to one's embodiment in the material world. Fear is due to worrying about the future. A person in Krishna consciousness has no fear because by his activities he is sure to come back to God, and therefore his future is very bright. Others, however, do not know what their future holds. They have no knowledge of what life holds. So they are therefore in constant anxiety. So abhayam or fearless is only possible for one who is in Krishna consciousness. Next is ahimsa, non-violence. Means one should not do anything which will put others into misery. Material activities that are promised by so-called politicians, socialists, philanthropists, etc., do not produce very good results because the politicians and philanthropists have no transcendental vision. They do not know what is actually beneficial for humans. So ahimsa means people should be trained in such a way that the full utilization of the human body is taking place. The human body is meant for spiritual realization, and any movement or any commissions which do not further that end commit violence in the human body. This is that which furthers the future spiritual happiness. of the people in general is called non-violence. Samatha is equanimity, freedom from attachment and aversion. Too much, to be very much attached or to be very much detached is not the best. The material world should be accepted without attachment or aversion. That which is favorable for prosecuting Krishna consciousness should be accepted, and that which is unfavorable should be rejected. This is equanimity. A person Krishna consciousness nothing to reject and nothing to accept in terms of the usefulness in the prosecution of tushti, satisfaction. Means that one should not be eager to gather more and more material goods for unnecessary activity. One should be satisfied with what is obtained with the grace of the Supreme God. That is satisfaction. Tapas means austerity of penance. There are many rules and regulations in the Vedas which apply here. Like rising early in the morning, taking a bath. Sometimes it's very troublesome to rise early in the morning, but such voluntary trouble one may suffer in this way is called penance. Similarly, there are prescriptions of fasting on certain days of the month. One may not be inclined to practice this fasting, but because of his determination to make advance in Krishna consciousness, he should accept only such bodily troubles when they are recommended. However, one should not fast unnecessarily or against Vedic injunctions. One should not fast for some political purpose. So that is described in Bhagavad Gita as fasting in ignorance. Anything done in ignorance and passion does not lead to spiritual advancement. Everything done in the mood of goodness also. So everything done in the mode of goodness does advance one, however, and fasting done in terms of Vedic injunctions enriches one in spiritual. Okay, so as far as charity is concerned, one should give 50% of his earnings to some good cause. What is a good cause? It is that which is conducted in terms of Krishna consciousness. That is not only a good cause, that is the best cause. Because Krishna is good, his cause is also good. Therefore, charity should be given to a person who is engaged in Krishna consciousness. According to Vedic literature, is enjoying that. Charity should be given to Brahmanas. This practice is still followed. Although not very nicely in terms of Vedic injunction, but still the injunction is that charity should be given to the Brahmanas. So still the injunction is that charity should be given to Brahmanas. Why? Because they are engaged in higher cultivation of spiritual knowledge. So Brahmana is supposed to devote his whole life understanding Brahman. Brahma Janati iti Brahman. One who knows Brahman is called as a Brahman. The charity is offered to the Brahmanas because they have always engaged in higher spiritual service and have no time to earn their livelihood. In the Vedic literature, charity is also to be awarded to one with the now sort of life, sannyasi. The sannyasi beg from door to door not for money but for missionary purpose. The system is that they go from door to door to awaken the householder from the slumber of ignorance. Because the householders are engaged in family affairs and forgotten their actual purpose in life, awakening their Krishna consciousness, it is the business of the sannyasi to go as beggars into the households and encourage them to be Krishna conscious. As it is said in the Vedas, one should awake and achieve what is due him in human form. This knowledge and method is distributed by the sannyasis. So hence charity is to be given to the Brahman sort of life, the Brahmana, similar good cause, not to any whimsical culture. Yash is fame. Should be according to Lord Chaitanya, who said that a man is famous when he is known as a great devotee. That is real fame. One is a great man. So all these qualities are manifest throughout the universe in human society and in the society of the living. There are many forms of humanity on other planets, and these qualities are there. Now, for one who wants to advance in Krishna consciousness, Krishna creates all these qualities. When the person develops them himself from within, one who engages in the devotional service of the Supreme Lord develops all the good qualities. So whatever we find good or bad, the origin is Krishna. Nothing can manifest itself in the material world which is not in Krishna. So that is knowledge. Although we know that things are differently situated, we should realize that everything flows from Krishna. So here Prabhupada begins by saying that university education simply pertains to matter, whereas the spiritual education pertains to matter and spirit both. So in fact, on the spiritual plane or in spiritual terminology, knowledge begins from the point of understanding the difference between spirit and so the pursuit of manifesting or the pursuit of manifesting real divine quality, we see, is the very process of the installation of Krishna consciousness. To the degree Krishna conscious principles are installed in our lives, to that degree these qualities will manifest. So therefore, which one to try for? Prabhupada is talking about everyone. You can try for everyone. Because we focus to try one by one everyone. So any quality we are focusing to improve, in effect results in so actually what is happening in effect results in taking Krishna consciousness deeper. So all these qualities are great for the Supreme Lord. So therefore, you see, the attempt to manifest or stand by the Vishnu qualities is basically to the attempt to pull oneself on a higher and higher towards Krishna. So in that light, we can see this. It's very beautiful. Third said one should be tolerant, forgiving, free from doubt. So see, asammoha is the manifestation, the disposition asammoha. So when one performs steady devotional service, there is asammoha. Because whenever there is moha, the delusion and doubts, immediately there is a break in the speed of devotion. So that means person has got lost into some kind of moha. Tolerance and forgiveness is mentioned. The Satyam is mentioned. So one only speaks the truth for the benefit of others. Now this is very dangerous. I mean, this is very risky, or you can say this becomes very tough. Because many times truth is not palatable. If we tell people, "Arey, you are in Maya," they will not like it. They say, "Hey, what are you calling me in Maya? You are in Superman." So, so uh, if we tell people, "You are so fallen," people are not going to accept it. They say, "No, no, no, I am the very advanced." No? You know? So nobody wants to. So then what to do? But that's true. But then what to do? You cannot say it's palatable. It's not palatable. So generally, truth is not palatable. And then we say, okay, therefore the bitter truth. The bitter truth is that we are fallen conditions. So, so then how to follow truthfully? To say something that is true, also palatable also. Therefore, we too much don't focus on scanning other people. No? Okay, here is the scan report. No? You have 100% cancer. Materialistic person will have 100% cancer only. What the use of the scan? No? So what to do then? So therefore, as a devotee, you have to understand. Let me only speak the glories of Krishna. Nah, it is true. It is palatable. People hear the glories of Krishna, they can become extreme. Nah? So that's it. So that's why a serious, sincere devotee does not stop speaking about Krishna. He cannot stop speaking about Krishna. That is a real truthfulness. It's truthful. Because truthful and then palatable also. So fault finding is not palatable. That is true. I mean, so many faults may be true, but it's not palatable. We cannot speak. So, but glories of the Lord we can speak. Truthful also, they're very endearing to the heart also. That's the point. So one's senses should be controlled, one's mind should be controlled. One should not allow the mind to focus on useless subject matters. Oh, whether I'll get a job or not, whether I'll get a good wife or not. Those subject matters are not to get obsessed. Therefore, here it is being said, Prabhupada is saying that how quickly I will be able to earn money for myself and my family. Huh? So the Bible is saying that is misuse of thinking power. That one is spending time just pondering over money, 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 money. Huh? Misuse of thinking power. So this thinking power, Prabhupada is saying, has to be developed in association with the devotees of the Lord, or in association with the advanced devotees. Then thinking power will develop. Ah, this is some subject matter to think and meditate. Then one will be inspired. Oh, this is what one has to think about. Huh? Not that like sometimes I would see, man, my family, I would see many people have gathered. It's holiday time and all. At 10 o'clock, one question will come up. That's a very difficult question to answer. It boils down everybody. Holds people are thinking only for next 1 hour about that question. The question is what to make in the afternoon. What to make in the what to cook in the afternoon. Then some fellows are saying, oh, I like this. Other fellows don't like it. Some fellows are saying, this was made day before yesterday also. And that was made day before yesterday. That was also made. That was also made. And this and that. And there is no new. Like that. So very. Yeah, it was a JE level question. See, whole family, 25 people are just focusing. अरे आज क्या बनाना है ना? Finally, desperation की यार कुछ तो बता दो बनेगा नहीं 12 बजे ना? So and then finally, people so okay, ठीक है, I tolerate, make this, somebody has to sacrifice and all that, So very difficult question. But this is misuse of thinking power. Nothing else. Somebody saying rajma bana do. Other person, no, very heavy today. Somebody saying bhindi bana do. No, it is gastric, Everybody is something, so what to make that? Rice gives fat, potato gives fat, So like that, there are. So this is thinking power. One is thinking really from Ayurveda, naturopathy. Here, the misuse of thinking power. What one has to think? One has to learn from the acharyas. What one should be thinking. Proper use of thinking power is to think about Guru's instructions. How can I fulfill the instructions? To meditate on how I can preach to more and more people. That's proper. So that's why I decided, okay, one should be always working and thinking about the welfare of others. That is real life. Real life. And the Lord is talking about samatva, samatva. One is neither moved by attachment nor moved by aversion. Because attachment, aversion, both are traps. Because we move in the direction of any of them, Maya will move us towards entertainment. That's the point. Both are traps. Yeah. And tapasya is mentioned. Charity is mentioned. Charity is given to Brahmana. Yes, sure. We're always eager to advance further and further in Krishna consciousness. So very beautiful description by the Lord here. So Krishna is telling that you can only know me by revelation, and how the revelation will come when you develop these qualities. In fact, the development, the struggle to developing these qualities is basically the struggle to install the principles of Krishna consciousness deeper, more and more into our hearts. It's going to take 6 steps. महर्षया सप्तपूर्वे शात्वरो मानवास्तथा मद्भावमानसचाता येषां लोकैमां प्रजः. The 7 great sages and before them, 4 other great sages of the Manus, the progenitors of mankind, come from me, born from my mind. And all the living beings populating the various planets descend from there. So the Lord is giving, the Lord is giving a genealogical synopsis of the universal population. Brahma, so the 7 great sages before them, the 4 great sages, the Manus, they all come from me, born from me. And all the living beings come from there. This is the genealogical synopsis. Brahma is the original creature, born out of the energy of the Supreme Brahma, who is known as Hiranyagarbha. And from Brahma, 7 great sages come. Before them, 4 other great sages come. These are the Chatuskumaras. 14 Manus are manifested. All these 25 great saints are known as the patriarchs of the living entities all over the universe. There are innumerable universes and innumerable planets within each universe. And each planet is full of population of different kinds. All of them are born of these 25 patriarchs. Brahma underwent penance for 1000 years of the demigods before he realized, by the grace of Krishna, how to create. Then from Brahma came the Chatuskumaras, then Rudra, then the 7 sages, and in this way, all the Brahmanas and Kshatriyas are born out of the energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Brahma is known as Pitamaha, the grandfather, and Krishna known as Prapitamaha, the father of the grandfather. So that is written in chapter 11. He the father of grandfather. So 25 patriarchs, and these 25 patriarchs create everything. The Lord saying, these are all coming from me. Okay, so here is a question. The question is Brahman realization. Okay, also happens by revelation, especially for impersonals. Yeah, the path of impersonalism requires some tinges of revelations. Especially for the path of impersonalism to reach its perfection, it definitely requires bhakti. But generally, the path of impersonation, a person is on one's own endeavor. And that is why I will say that from that platform also people fall. Because it is very much the limits of where we can go by our own. But still, slight tinges of mercy are required. Although, majorly it's one's own limit of individual gymnastics. But still, some mercy. एतां विभूतिं योगं च मम यो वेत्ति तत्त्वतः स विकल्पेन योगेन युज्यते नात्र संशयः. One who is actually convinced of this opulence and mystic power of mind engages in unalloyed devotional service of this. There is no doubt. The highest summit of spiritual perfection is knowledge of the Supreme Personality of God. Unless one is firmly convinced of the different opulences of the Supreme Lord, he cannot engage in devotional service. Generally, people know how God is great, but they do not know in detail how how great is God. They know God is great, but they don't know how God is, how much He is great or how great He is. Here are the details. If one actually knows how great the God is, and naturally he becomes a surrendered soul and engages himself in the devotional service of the Lord. When one factually knows the opulences of the Supreme, there is no alternative but to surrender to Him. His factual knowledge can be known from the descriptions. His factual knowledge can be known from the descriptions of Bhagavad Gita, and other similar literatures. In the administration of this universe, there are many demigods distributed throughout the planetary system. The chief of them are Brahma, the Shiva, and four Kumaras, and the other patriarchs. There are many forefathers of the population of the universe, and all of them are born of the Supreme Lord Krishna. The Supreme Personality of Lord Krishna is the original forefather of all forefathers. So these are some of the opulences of the Supreme Lord. When one is firmly convinced of them, he accepts Krishna with great faith and without any doubt, and he engages in devotional service. All this particular knowledge is required in order to increase one's interest in the loving devotional service of the Lord. One should not neglect to understand fully how great Krishna is. But by knowing the greatness of Krishna, one will be able to be fixed in sincere devotional service. So actually a devotee or sadhaka has to understand that let me not try to run away from having to acknowledge or accept the facts or accept the limitations which our material frameworks produce. Anything material is having very strong limitations. Only when we accept these limitations, standing at the border of the limitation, not being able to go any further, that helps us as we can see the Lord beyond those limitations. That is what is the meaning of knowing the upper and second. So the devotee understands limitation. The devotee understands, oh, I cannot even control these small tiny penny vices, anger, greed, lust, and all that. Uh, and I'm thinking I'm very great. Shame on me. Strongly shattered by it. I cannot control my mind. I cannot control my senses. So strong limitations are forced. But Krishna is beyond that. So let me just focus on Krishna. And he can take me. He can. So a devotee doesn't look for more further and further illusions to try to prove oneself or justify one's own greatness. A devotee immediately takes shelter of Krishna. Immediately he takes shelter of Krishna. So Krishna is beyond the limitations. Gajendra Maharaj is able to see that he is dying. He has tried out all his strength, everything, politics, everything he has tried out. He is dying, nothing is working out. So he's able to see that everything is dark. The only thing about what is not dark or what is still available is the shelter of Krishna. So he took further shelter of the Supreme. So if service has to perform, why do we do sadhana? Because when we are doing sadhana, we become conscious of Krishna and we are able to understand the opposites of Krishna. We are able to understand. Then, sincere devotee to do seva, he'll chant nicely. Why? Because you understand only if Krishna gives me strength, I can do the seva. Unless Krishna gives Adana to Yoga, I will not be able to progress. So that is why one has to understand the opulences of Krishna. And when one is actively serving, one can see opulences of Krishna more and more again. How the preaching mission takes place by the power of the Supreme Lord. How Krishna transforms people's life. How Krishna is himself arranging everything. How Acharyas are arranging. So one can become more and more humbled. In that state, one can take deeper and deeper shelter of the Astra and the Supreme Lord. This is what the Lord is saying. And when one knows these opulences, understands these opulences, one becomes more and more convinced to accept Krishna and then engage in devotional service. Okay, let's start here the prayer. ग्रंथराज एवं भगवद गीता की कृपा की